The reason I made this video was to focus in on tone. I hear a lot of people talking about the tone difference. And so there's a few things to be aware of with this. I've heard a few people say, well, that sounds like a chromatic harmonica. Well, I've got news. Technically, it is a chromatic harmonica. So there's a solid reason why it has that slight difference in sound. And then I think the other thing to be aware of is that it is bigger. And with it being bigger and maybe something about the reeds or whatnot, these reeds can play really strong. Stronger than I think is advisable. But it feels good to do, right? So you have to be careful because it feels nice to play loud for the player. But if you go back and listen to your recordings, you'll find the tone is not as it's not as robust and round when you're playing loud on these. So that said, with my recording, I'm just basically demonstrating you can make that sound very round. And here's how you do it. Number one, don't play hard. Do not blow hard. When you blow hard, the tone, like I said, it goes kind of flat. Very good for some situations, I imagine. But for playing acoustically with a simple backing track, probably not your best bet. So the other one is you need to basically revisit your hand game. A blues harmonica is very easy to cup in comparison to these guys, right? With these, I mean, you can really, really clamp down on them, and it's not that hard to do. These are a little bit bigger, and they have a button that you presumably bought this so that you can use it. So you have to develop a cupping technique that lets you to reach it. The way I do it is make a kind of flat-fingered, stick the harp in there, and then with this hand, I cup it like this. Bring it right in there, okay? That means my finger, I can just go right here. I can maintain the cup. I could even keep it there and do. All right? And then if you look on this side, this is about what it looks like. And I think the metaphor of it's got to be close enough that you could hold water in it. Then you get really good compression. I would say be careful not to push down too hard with your top finger because it's challenging to get that cup. You may be tempted to push with that, but you'll just hurt your finger. All right. Now, the next thing I think to say, aside from don't play hard and revisit your cupping game, is think through phrasing. When you play music, that you really have to think about the phrase. Phrase is the building block of music. It's like a sentence in a story. So when you tell a story, you speak the sentence in a certain way to convey a certain meaning in order to capture a certain kind of interest. And I think that there's a lot of instruments where folks do that very well. And harmonica is challenging and a lot of fun. So sometimes we just kind of get carried away into thinking, hey, this sounds awesome. So I think my encouragement would be to, when you're playing one of these, or any harmonica really, to really think through what you're gonna do with your phrase. Are you gonna start soft and grow louder through the phrase, play more dissonant notes as you reach the climax of the verse, etc.? There's a lot of things to think about in there that really just kind of go hand in hand with good musicianship. So that is 1, don't blow hard. 2, up your cupping game. 3, think about the phrase. And then the 4th one, I think, is to think real carefully about how you're connecting each individual note. One thing I do really like about this harmonica is that it kind of predisposes you, especially if you're a lip blocker player. It really pushes you into thinking a lot about how you're going to make the two notes connect because they're a little farther apart. The holes are literally just a slight bit wider. You get used to it, but as you're playing, you don't think about that spacing, but what you do think about is, boy, how am I going to connect these two notes? It feels like I'm going to have to do something so that I get continuous sound. So think about how you're going to start the note, As an example, are you going to do a little quarter step bend in the beginning of the note to help get the listener into it? And then when you get to the middle of the note, what are you doing there? Are you playing some vibrato on that note? Or is it a straight tone? Is it a straight tone, then vibrato? And then as you come to the tail end of the note, how are you going to end that note? Is it going to taper off? Is it going to build into the next note of the phrase? If it is going to build to the next note of the phrase, how are you going to smoothly connect to that? You're going to practice that leap, right? And just really work on that timing so you don't have a hole in your phrase. Those kinds of things. And then I think the fifth thing that I'll say is that you do have with the button some alternate notes, which allow you to, for example, you have a draw 3, which is a C. Normally you'd play 4 blow for that. But if you're playing a phrase that is mostly draw notes, well, now you have the ability to play that with the slide in, so you don't have to change breath direction as often. That lets you build a smoother and longer phrase. You do have to be careful if you're playing blues not to be too smooth. If you're too smooth, you'll be out of style, or out of genre, I should say. But that said, for pretty much anything else, there's an expectation to be able to smoothly connect the notes of a phrase. All right, so to close this out, I hope this was a helpful video for you. Personally, I come out of a music education background, so I'm all about teaching people what I know and helping people understand. And that's kind of one of the things I really like about these harmonicas is that they give another avenue to understanding the basic blues harmonica, because you can access some notes without having a giant learning curve. And even if you're somebody who already plays those overblows and overbends and in tune deep bends in the lower end of the harmonica, even if you already do all of that, it still helps. So I've been playing that kind of way for a while, but I find that if I play a phrase on this and then I go play it on the blues harp, I'm able to hear the note in my mind a little bit better. So that's part of my interest. I see a vehicle for helping everybody in the community get to know the instrument a little bit deeper. So anyways, like I said, hope this is helpful. Post your questions, post your comments. I'll answer any question you have. And I'll be making a few more of these. So hope this helps. Bye.